Hello, family and friends, and welcome back to another episode of The Other Side with me, Todd Jones. Today, we are going to be picking up where we left off. Last video, we talked about business relationships. This video, we're going to talk about personal relationships. All right. So, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole about personal relationships because we could talk about this. Well, I could talk about this all day long. And so I'm just trying to make this thought-provoking. I'm trying to, give you guys some ideas on the outlook of maybe what you should or shouldn't be looking at in a relationship, or why some relationships work, why some relationships don't, and the key ingredients to relationships. But so with personal relationships, whether it comes to intimate relationships, families, friends, associates, whatever you want to call it, it's all relationships. All right. So the first thing that you ask yourself is why. Now, I'm not going to be a pessimist about it and say that everybody should be a skeptic when it comes to why people are coming in and out of your lives, but it's important because we're talking about your attitude, we're talking about your spirit, we're talking about your essence in this world. Is you don't want people coming to suck your energy. All right. So the first thing that we should be asking is why. And we should be asking, why does this person want a relationship with me, or why am I pursuing a relationship with this person, etc. Like I said, if it's a personal, intimate relationship, then it's what does this person want from me, or what do I want from this person, how we can contribute to each other, or how we can benefit from each other. Same thing with business relationships or friends. Like I said, your family is the first relationships that you get into in the first place. And so that's when you first start learning about yourself. You start learning about your parents, your siblings, whoever. You start learning about trust issues and things of that sort. So the first thing, like I said, is asking why. Why is this relationship being formed? Is it for love? Is it for companionship? Is it for financial gain? Is it for ego? Because you could talk about people looking for love. All right, well that's a good reason to look for a relationship. And then companionship, people don't want to be alone. They need companionship in the world. And then financial gain. Some people, they want to accomplish certain things. They want to attain certain material things. So some people, they look for a relationship for financial gain. We call them gold diggers or whatever, and that could be guys or girls when you talk about gold diggers or whatever. And I'm gonna get into why that's not such a bad thing in a certain context. All right. And then ego. Some people, they get into relationships just to have another notch on their belt because they want to sleep with as many people as they can, or whatever the case is. But the most important, like I said, is to ask intent. Why am I here? And the reason why most relationships fail is because that intent and the expectations, they're not discussed up front. So one of the first things, the key elements to the relationship is going to be the communication. And the communication, you have to talk about intent. All right. So when you're dating, that's the time to get all of this out. This is where you clear the table so there's no confusion. That's the whole reason why you're dating. It's because you want to establish intent, and then you want to establish what's the purpose. That can go with intent, and then you can establish goals of what you're trying to accomplish. So for some women, they look for relationships for structure, because back in the day, I'm not that old. I've only been on this planet for about to be 33 years now. So I'm not that old, and time flies. All right. So in this little small amount of time that I've been on this planet, I've learned that some women are raised or used to be raised, find a good husband that's going to be financially independent, be able to take care of you and your kids, provide, protect, love, care for you, right? And that's the basic foundation of what women are taught to believe. A structure for love, for marriage, for kids. Almost every little girl, they grow up and their idea is to marry this prince, this knight in shining armor, this guy that's going to protect them and provide for them for the rest of their lives and give them whatever it is that they need. And like I said, not in all aspects, but that's the common trend of women looking for relationships. And then for men, sometimes they look for relationships for ego, to conquer. Some men look for love, or some men get into relationship for kids. And when I say kids, I'm not talking about the same aspect as women wanting kids. They want to start a family or whatever the case is. For men, it's mostly about legacy, right? It's let me make sure my bloodline continues. I want sons, right? To carry my name, because it's about, like I said, the ego, making sure my name doesn't die, establishing something that's going to go on for generations and generations. I'm guilty of that myself, which is the reason why I wanted more sons. But the intent is what drives the relationship. So, like I said, most women, they focus on family. Most men, they focus on finances and legacy. But the other thing is, what in all of this, the question is, what types of relationships should we be looking for? And what type of relationship should we be teaching our kids to look for? So I'll leave that for you guys to say what type of relationship that you should be looking for. It all depends on, like I said, your intent. If it's financial gain, then obviously you need to put yourself in a position to where somebody feels like you deserve to benefit from them financially. If it's purely for love, then obviously you want to get with someone that's not necessarily materialistic or whatever the case is, and they're just trying to share or express themselves or whatever the case is. But if it's to start a family, then obviously, it's a lot that's going to go into relationships. It's more complicated than what I'm giving on the surface right now, because we're talking about companionship, talking about compromising, we're talking about understanding, communicating. All of this goes into a relationship. Empathy, sympathy, everything. Loyalty, being able to have somebody there when you need them, compassion. It's crazy. But anyway, the values that we should teach our kids in a relationship. So for girls, we want them not to marry a bum, right? So just to put this in perspective, you don't want them to marry a bum, but you don't want them to be gold diggers either. You want them to marry for love, but you also don't want them financially handicapped by the person that they're with for the sake of love. Does that make sense? Having to be stuck in a position of being in a relationship with somebody because of financial reasons, or they love somebody because of what they have or how they can benefit from them, because then that gets complicated on what real love is and stuff like that. And so obviously for myself, I want my girls to find somebody that's going to be able to protect them, love them, care for them, provide security, financially independent, and things of that sort. But at the same time, I'm teaching my daughters to be independent. Now, that's the difference between being an independent woman and being submissive and supportive in your relationship. It's two different things. And so with the household structure, you should be teaching your daughters, and I'm just speculating and I'm just lending my opinion, but teaching your daughters to be independent, to be strong individuals, but at the same time playing their role as what they are. And this is not to offend any feminists or anything like that, because I consider myself a feminist with equal rights and things of that sort. But like I said, at the same time, the gender roles. So I'm not trying to, like I said, demean anybody or anything like that, but I'm very old-fashioned in that sense, and I feel like women are more nurturers, providers. Nurturers, teachers. They educate us. Your mothers are the first educators in the household. While dad is working, the mothers are the one that's teaching to speak, to walk, talk, all of that. Your mothers are your first teachers. So, and then, obviously the men are the providers for the family. And so I'm just old fashioned, like I said, in that aspect. So for sons, you want to teach them to be builders, hands-on. You want to teach them to be providers, protectors, problem solvers, because ultimately, in the long run, that's what's gonna keep the family together. That's what's gonna create that structure. That's what's gonna keep that woman attached to him. Especially if he's nurturing and caring as well. If you can be all of this tough guy, abrasive, whatever you want to call it, aggressive, but at the same time be loving and caring to the person that you're in a relationship with, then that gives you thousands and thousands of points when it comes to making sure that your wife is only interested in you and doesn't stray or anything. And so, being able to be there emotionally and physically as a protector is a must in a relationship. All right. And that's what most women want. So understanding what you're doing and where you're going in a relationship. So this goes back to intent, what you're doing and where you're going. So initially, when you meet, you want to establish intent during the dating process. Hey, are we here for fun? You want to just have a good time? Are you looking for a serious relationship? Did you just get out of a relationship? Are you recovering from a relationship? Are you trying to get help recovering from a relationship? Are you going through therapy for a past relationship? Making sure that you take time to heal. Do you just need a friend, someone to listen to? Whatever the case is. But even though we would look at this and be like, okay, you real blunt and upfront or whatever, that's what we need. That's the part of the communication, because the more that we hide things or hide our intent, the more complicated the relationship can become. And then you end up in a state of betrayal because you feel like the other person played you. And then you're like, well, I was just here for a good time. I wasn't here to settle down. And so then that jacks up the whole foundation of the relationship. And one person feel like they're being forced to do something, while the other person feels like they're not being too demanding and that they deserve a certain amount. And so that communication is going to be a must in a relationship. But I know I'm kind of spitballing and throwing a lot of different things out, but with the relationship, it's gonna take time. It's gonna take effort in any relationship. We're talking about any relationship, business, personal, family, whatever. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take effort. It's gonna take understanding, compassion, being sympathetic, empathetic. It's gonna take all of that. But the main thing is intent and communication. So as long as you are communicating, because and don't get me wrong, because now with communicating, it's not talking, it's understanding. The communication is in the understanding, because you can talk all day long and that doesn't help anything. But understanding and being compassionate when somebody is trying to express themselves to you or explaining what they want, that is what's going to get you over any hump in any relationship, whether it's friends with benefits or lovers or whatever the case is. The communication is what's going to be the most important, and the listening and understanding is what's going to be the most important when it comes to the relationship. All right, so I know I just spitballed a whole lot, but if you guys have any comments, or if this video was helpful in any way, leave a comment below. Share the video to your friends. So like, share, subscribe, comment. Thank you for the support. And that is it. I am out, and I will see you next time, family. Bye.